I Am No Jeremiah. On Prophecy by Alan Lee Whiteman, September 2025. See the very nice article on the historical biblical figure of note in Wikipedia. Jeremiah was a prophet in the 7th and 6th centuries BC and is known for his warnings to the Jewish people that they should change their ways to save themselves from captivity and the city of Jerusalem from destruction. He was said to have been appointed to reveal the sins of the people and the punishment to come, should they fail to heed his warnings. He sought to have the people of his day change from something they had been to something more righteous and repentant. He ultimately failed in that effort. There is no authentic record of his death, though he is thought to have died in Egypt while in escape and exile away from his home in Mizpah after his return from Babylon. In quite direct opposition to Jeremiah, I am not seeking to have people change their ways or be more righteous in the eyes of any deity, though I do advocate that each individual come to know thyself in the ways of my other writings. I am not otherwise asking people to start or stop what they are doing or not doing. Indeed, despite what is to come with the return of the alien Nephilim, I suggest that people go about life as they know it, pursuing career, marriage, and having children as has been the practice for millennia. Some people, if they deem the advice worthy, might want to consider moving inland away from coastal areas, should the Nephilim choose to bring their moon into Earth orbit. I am not a religious person, indeed I can be described as being secular, irreligious, though I do acknowledge the source of all creation. What akens me, if I can coin the term, to Jeremiah is prophecy. Prophecy of things to come in and around 2050, and my hope for the betterment of relations around the world, less conflict, more cooperation, and a cleanup of problematic situations left over from the fall of Atlantis. I also advocate for a permanent home for the traveling Nephilim and that they complete their migration in as a cooperative manner as is possible. A positive plus side from all of this is the expansion of consciousness of all people and a joining of humanity with the larger galactic community of thinking and creative beings. There is a rather nice TV movie from 1998 titled Bible Collection, Jeremiah, starring Patrick Dempsey that tells the story. I found reading various Wikipedia articles on the major characters to be helpful in understanding the storyline. So much actual history was packed into an hour-and-a-half presentation with an obvious need to skim over the highlights. That said, curiously, as I am reviewing this for publication, I encounter on YouTube several articles about Carl Jung and his observations on the introverted intuitive. In modern-day terminology of please understand me, this would be written as INxy, where X is in temperament, T or F, and Y is J or P. So as a class, the INTJ, INTP, INFJ, and INFP types are all introverted intuitives, which raises a bit of suspicion. Was Jung's study group of individuals just one from the class, say INTJ, such as myself? Was his smaller study class really INTJ and INFP? Consider the following query to Google search. What was Carl Jung's thesis about the introverted intuitive individual? And the following response. This text is cropped. Try yourself for a fuller display. Carl Jung's thesis on the introverted intuitive, NI, individual is that they are mystical, visionary, and deeply focused on an inner world of symbols, possibilities, and meanings derived from the unconscious. They perceive the potential of the future and symbolic connections that elude others, but often struggle with concrete reality, practical matters, and communicating their complex perceptions to the external world. Here's a breakdown of the key aspects of the introverted intuitive type. Inner focus. Their primary orientation is inward, towards a rich internal world of archetypal images and psychic movements. Perception of possibilities. They have an uncanny ability to sense future possibilities, symbolic meanings, and what is about to be, operating as seers, prophets, or artists. Unconscious guidance. Their perceptions come from the unconscious, guided by a deep sensitivity to invisible symbolic patterns rather than external facts. A like query on, was the biblical Jeremiah an introverted intuitive, producing. While it's anachronistic and speculative to assign a modern personality type like Myers-Briggs to a biblical figure, the descriptions of Jeremiah strongly suggest he was an introvert and potentially an intuitive. His introspective, sensitive, and shy nature aligns with introversion, and his ability to inspire and see future outcomes aligns with the intuitive trait. Evidence for introversion I. Sensitivity and introspection. Jeremiah is described as sensitive and introspective, preferring solitude for contemplating issues rather than constant social interaction. Need for privacy. His natural inclination was for privacy and thoughtful contemplation before speaking, indicating an inner focus rather than an outward one. Reluctance to prophesy. He was a reluctant prophet, trying to avoid the unpopular task of delivering God's message, suggesting a desire to avoid conflict and public scrutiny. For a conforming view on this, see the YouTube video on the Sifos channel of The Curse of Seeing Too Much as an Intuitive Introvert, which has a nice review of the topics, a bit over the top in places for my sensibilities, but still a good video. So, maybe my coming into this life as INTJ and Enneagram Type 5 is in a way a support element for my delving into what happened with Atlantis and my prophecies of things to come. Some post notes. Jeremiah lived during the 1,000-year period pre-BC, during a time when the toxic contamination from the containers of chaos, my term name for the storage canisters filled by the Nephilim emotion harvesting machines, had just started leaking into the environment, which includes his area of travels. In the film for Jeremiah, General Shaphan, advisor to King Zedekiah, is presented as being truly the most malicious individual in the entire story, while Nebuchadnezzar II is presented as a no-nonsense, good guy, seemingly to be admired.